Hello, my name is Tanya Ross. I am recording my story for you today in my house, in my living room. And the book that I'm going to be sharing with you is this one. It's called Rising Up. The cover of this book is going to be under revision in another month or so. You might see a new cover on Amazon, but it's the same book and the same story. I'm just ready to create a series, and therefore I need a cover that can continue the series. So don't be surprised if the book is looking a little different eventually. So when I finish reading today, I'll tell you a few secrets about the book, things that you might want to know. And right now I'm going to go ahead and start reading for you a portion out of the book. This is about halfway through. And let's see what you think might be the result of what happens in the book. Okay, so I'm going to set the stage. There's a character by the name of Xander. He is one of a group of main characters, and he belongs to some people called the REMs. That stands for Resisting Emotional Management. They're beginning a journey to find out where some smoke is coming from in a very deserty type area outside of the city in which they live. About 2 miles out, the group began to drag. The heat was oppressive, the sweat running down their arms and legs. Dirt and sand burned their feet so badly they would scamper quickly, as if hurrying would make it hurt less. With no warning, they'd walk into an icy wind, and then they would shiver. The landscape was not only boring, but the brutal environment of opposites sucked the energy from their bodies. They trudged ahead, scanning the horizon for smoke from the top of a massive hill littered with a pile of what appeared to be incinerated black rocks and massive boulders. The group stopped for a breather, joking about rolling down the hill to get where they were going faster. At the peak's base, yawning ravines and gorges were outlined in craggy stone. They created a deep space for water, but the area held only shadows. Xander mounted the vast pile of rubble, jumping to the top notch, a boulder the size of a small car. Hey, the pinnacle of success, right, Rems? The monolith provided a great vantage point, but Xander saw no vestige of smoke from the spectacular vantage point. Disappointed, he climbed down. On his way, he found a treasure half buried in the dirt. It was a metal spike, 6 feet tall, which he decided was far too heavy to carry along in their journey. He looked at it longingly, then dramatically kissed it goodbye, to the amusement of the crew. They made the journey down, picking their way carefully among the rough obstacles. No less than 5 minutes later, the guys stopped in their tracks. A blood-curdling snarl ripped through the wind. The hair on Xander's arms stood up, his brain echoing with alarm. What was that? A girl toward the back of the group squeaked the question, and it hung suspended in the silence. Shh, listen, and don't move. Xander stood stock still, only his head whipping around, looking in every direction. Whatever it was close enough to hear, but not near enough to see. I don't see anything, but have your weapons ready and stay close. We move forward. Xander began surveying the geography of the area for a protected space. Vegetation was non-existent, and it looked as if there had never been a city or anything else there. No structures decorated the landscape. Not another word. The members pulled their best weapons from their knapsacks, most carrying knives, but some boasting square hammers of steel. They were equipped with some fearsome deterrents, but their band was unwieldy and inexperienced. They moved mutely along, their faces creased with abstract fear. The snarl came again, louder, an evil omen of something vicious. The creatures they knew, those they hunted and ate to survive, were docile and half-witted. None of those growled or revealed their presence. They hid themselves in a desperate effort to survive an already hostile environment. The party turned wearily in the direction of the rumble, their accelerated drumming hearts almost audible. A Grelox raced from the west toward their group. Even from its distance, Xander noted its eyes, alight with a jaundiced glow. Its teeth dripped with saliva, crimson from a recent kill. Bared, jagged fangs, razor sharp, held the evil promise of ripped flesh. The creature loomed 8 feet tall, its body a muscle-bound, fibrous hulk. Xander had heard about Grelox, but the rumors he had heard about these animals didn't come close to what he was seeing. As the beast grew closer, the scritching of its paws along the uneven terrain emphasized its clawed talons, each several inches long with needle-sharp tips. 10 to 12-inch spikes along the top of its head trailed down its neck and shoulders, stopping for a merciful break along its compact back. Smaller spikes protruded from its hindquarters, continuing down to the start of a furless, lion-like tail, the tuft at the end its only softness. Black tiger stripes on its sinewy skin were a promise of the darkness within. A roar thundered from the cat's deep chest as it landed in front of the group, its final leap a deadly challenge. Oh my God, let my team be up to this. In an ironic answer to his thoughts, all but 3 of his officers, Jasper, Graham, and Bixby, turned back the way they had come, running for dear life. Their screams led their journey to the hill they'd traversed just moments before. I can't let my destiny be devoured by this freak of nature. Frickin' Shaz, fight! Xander attacked, adrenaline flooding his limbs. He stabbed at the beast with his knife, reaching, stretching for its leathery chest. A swing, and the blade missed. A plunge of the knife into a skeletal dent under the chest did nothing. The blade seemed like a mere feather in his hands. Xander eyed the spikes along the being's back, realizing that there was no way to penetrate the spine of the animal, even if he could jump high enough. Meanwhile, Xander saw Jasper, Graham, and Bixby spread out several feet away from the Grelox. They threw rocks from their satchels at the beast's head and flanks. The 6-inch rocks hit their target, time after time, repeatedly. The mutant tiger screamed. It was being hurt, and it bled from raw cavities in its flesh, but it did not stop snapping its jaws and lashing its claws. From the corner of his eye, Xander watched Graham bravely recover the rim's rocks, now scattered around the creature. The other 2 continued their assault, the rock masters in the competition of their lives. It's now or never. Xander knew the plan forming in his mind was risky. For a moment, he agonized. I either die here or try and protect everyone else. I hate like hell leaving my 3 guys alone, but no time to hesitate. It has to work. This is our only chance to bring this monster down. Xander screamed out, "Run to the gorge, now!" Then he turned and sped as fast as he could to the top of the hill. He felt as if sandbags weighed him down. Damp with terror, he smelled his own sweat. Each step fractured the dust as he sped to the top of the hill. The crest of the hill taunted his efforts as it seemed to move away rather than rise up to greet him. But finally, he reached the pinnacle, breathing hard, a burn spreading through his chest. The frightened army of 8 Rems who ran for their lives gathered around him as if he had just returned from the dead. "Xander, you're safe," one of them cried. He pushed them all away. There was no time for a sentimental reunion. The view from the top was no longer a welcome one. The scene at the bottom of the hill was grim. Graham's arm was bleeding scarlet. The monster had bitten into his forearm where it hung by thin sinew. The monster pulled it away with another snap of its jaws. The Grelox continued its shredding, now consumed with its goal to destroy and devour its prey. Graham's screams rent the air, ear-splitting and agonizing. "Bixby, go, go, go!" Jasper screamed. "To the gorge!" "But Graham, go! We can't save him!" Jasper bolted toward the hillside. Bixby followed on Jasper's heels, blood dripping from scratches on his arms. Adrenaline seemed to make them superhuman, and the men pushed toward the ravine where they fell into the cleft, exhausted. So, I'm going to quit reading there. What do you think is going to happen in the rest of this scene as they continue to fight this creature called the Grelox? I promised you to reveal some secrets after I finished reading. So right now, you're going to learn some things that very few people know, except for my family. One of the characters in the book, his name is Will, and you didn't get to meet him in this segment that I read today, but he's a very important character. He is actually based on a real person. He's based on a student that I had in my classroom a few years ago because I taught school for 30 years. Also, the book, as I said before, is getting a new cover. So I am excited about what that's going to look like. So just be aware that it's going to be coming out there. I anticipate that to be happening in about a month. Also, this book is part of a series. I'm working really hard at finishing up book number 2. Book number 2 should be released in the fall, and it is really a wild ride. So I encourage you to look for that after you read my book number 1. My name is Tanya Ross. You can find me on my website, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also find my book, most importantly, on Amazon. Don't forget to come back to the story and activity time to watch more authors reading wonderful books. You're going to join the red carpet time on Saturday, September 26th. Thank you for spending time with me, and goodbye for now.